Good evening, everybody. Today is episode 7 of the Source Podcast. Today is going to be the season finale. We do have special guests Crow and Sticky Haze with us today. Today, we're going to be going over the subject of mental health and its importance. And with me is my co-host Tonto.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back. And thankfully, we have Grim here because I know he did not want to miss on this part.
Absolutely not, absolutely not. And especially after missing last week, it was a little felt empty inside.
Mm-hmm.
It felt full because what happened last week. But that's besides the point. But anyways, I uh, I did miss you guys last week and everything, so it's good to be here. It's good to be back. I do not have the beard anymore, so this is I think
R.I.P.
the first episode I've had with
Mm-hmm.
the stash. Ugh.
He's still
I
allowed
miss
around
the beard.
schools, everyone. Just know that. But things could change.
Yeah,
We don't know. It's
yeah,
Florida. They do
yeah,
weird things down there.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah. But nevertheless, we do have, like I said, our content creator here, Sticky Haze, and one of our staff members, Crow. Sticky, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a dad. I've been married for 7 years. Got a 13-year-old, 9-year-old. I'm a chef. Work my ass off most days. I wake up about 9 o'clock. Do all the house stuff, do all the life stuff, do the work stuff. Come home, and when I'm not doing that stuff, I'm on the game creating content for likes and smiles and happiness and joy.
I can definitely say you do cause a lot of smiles, a lot of joy. It's always nice seeing your name pop up in anybody's chat. Very lovable guy, very down to earth, very humble. One of the first people I met when I joined SRC, way back when, and one of the most sincere guys I've had the pleasure of meeting. And we thank you here at SRC for being a part. I definitely know everybody across the board can. We all appreciate you, bro. And
Appreciate you as well.
we also have our production staff member here, Crow, one of our newest members. But nevertheless, you want to go like this to your camera, Crow. Just like put your little refocus it a little bit. No, 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 nothing. All right, no
Do
dice. It's
not
fine.
turn off your camera. Please do not turn off your
Yeah,
camera.
don't turn it off. Turn it off. It's not focusing. It's all good though. But yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, Crow.
So I, like you were saying, I'm the newest member of SRC. Typically, I'm behind the scenes, so you guys will see me in chats typically. But with the topic that we're going over today, I do have kind of a good bit of knowledge on this, so I'm excited to be able to speak and show my insight a little bit.
You actually went to school for this, right?
Yeah, I graduated in 2015 with a degree in psychology. I also have certification in suicide prevention and domestic violence.
That's all great things, honestly. I mean, everybody knows what I mean when I say it's all great things.
Yeah.
Having advocates for domestic violence and suicide awareness and everything like that is definitely something important on our day-to-day lives, because you never know what somebody's going through or what somebody's mental state is at. They could be all smiles, all happy and everything like that, but on the inside they're screaming. So it's very important to be able to identify those small little factors and like those like keynotes and that people have like with behavior shifts and stuff. And that's what they teach you guys when you go to school and stuff, I'm guessing. So Tonto.
Yeah, no. And this is also just trigger warning for anyone. Just will be people will be sharing their own experiences. That's as much as they're comfortable with. But just want to give heads up. If just not in the right headspace to listen to all that, just it's all good. You can dip out, but just want to get a fair warning about that. But yeah, no, like I know Crow told me he went to school and everything. I didn't know about the domestic violence ones. If you did tell me, I just didn't remember. But that is very crucial to go along with that, especially when the pandemic was going on, like when there were people who couldn't leave the home, but they were in those type of situations. So that's a scary time to be in. So it to have if more people have more training like that, like you do, Crow, that would help out so much.
It really would. It's the pandemic. It caused a lot of cabin fever esque type things going on. It's like Tanto said, we will be sharing a lot of stories. So we wanted to wrap the season up by getting closer to all of you and giving you guys a part of ourselves. And by doing that, we're gonna share stories. Share whether it's with loved ones, whether it's with ourselves. This is gonna get pretty damn deep. It is gonna get pretty deep. So, but it can get deep, and we can all just support each other, and that's what SRC is about: is supporting each other and being a family. So let's dive right in, guys. What's one of your personal something you feel like sharing, Sticky?
Um,
Just
I honestly
anything,
have a
man.
lot of time in my life where I remember, my parents was always very, very addicted to drugs. So I found myself consistently like trying to figure out why I wasn't enough, why I wasn't enough, why I wasn't enough. And over the time and just and understanding, I have to find value in myself. My mother was addicted to heroin, and that consumed her, and now she has ended her life over that. She overdosed on heroin. My dad was an addict for a very long time, addicted to crack. He just recently, 3 years ago, got clean. So I spent my whole life kind of trying to chase everything and trying to figure out what my life needed to consist of. I can remember one aspect, like, I was probably 6. We walked into the house. My dad was very big with like bikers, Hell's Angels, Sons of Silence, some very, 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 very serious people come in. I'm 6 years old. These guys are all drinking beer, smoking cigarettes, hanging out, blaring Alice in Chains, right on, rocking. So I go to lay down in the bed, and my dad throws me on the bed, and I roll over, and there's, a loaded firearm and some drugs and money. And from the beginning of my life, that's what I was introduced to from the very beginning of being a child, and it just consistently got worse. Like, and I know that sounds very treacherous and very scary, but at the same time, it just was what I was accustomed to. So it wasn't scary to me, sadly. Um, lots of parties, hanging out. My mother, she had systemic lupus, and that kind of is where that all started at. She was taking Vicodin and progressed and progressed and progressed, and basically it wasn't enough. She was hurting, and they kept, in that area and pandemic, like before that was a thing, the opioid pandemic was a thing. She was a victim of that, and by the time it was too late, she was consumed. And next thing you know, the fentanyl patches came into play, and then stepping outside of the fentanyl patches, she would, like, literally, man, would scrape fentanyl out of a bag and snort it off of a mirror because that's just wasn't enough. She couldn't find enough when she had enough at home, and my whole life I've always placed my value in someone else. And I just recently, 10 years ago, put my foot down, and it took my son, my wife, and my daughter to realize I need to find value in myself and stop placing my value in other people's hands. And when I did that, my life began to change completely. I stopped playing victim, and I started like understanding, there's a reason you went through these, to make you strong, and so your children and your wife never has to go through them. So, and that's just a little bit about me. One of the stories I remember offhand was the loaded handgun when I was a child. I'll never forget that. Like, that was just flabbergasting to me. Like, I don't think anybody should ever have to see that.
No, being introduced as at a young age that's something that a lot of people can't really comprehend. It's when you're that young, you are a empty cast, right? And you're being molded by your surroundings and by what you're introduced to. And when you're introduced to the wrong environment or something like that, it's so easy to follow in that path. It is so fucking easy from a young age too, and that's the tragic part about it. And listening to everything that you said, man, and it's extremely relatable. It's insane how somebody, you don't even know, like, to the T, right? Like, me and you are cool. Me and you are friends. Sticky, we've always been like that. But like, hearing your story, man, it's just like, ugh, fuck, dude, like that. It's a heart wrench, you know. It's because you don't realize how many other people are actually like really going through stuff like it's pretty damn similar to your childhood and your life and everything. And it's yeah, definitely one for me, man. It's my my mom at a young age, she got addicted to drugs. Her and my stepdad. And I grew up not knowing that my stepdad was actually my stepdad. Thought he was my real dad. I did until I was like 8 or 9, and I just like I finally put it together in my head. I was like, you know, my stepdad's never been to California. I was born in California. How does that happen? And then I like go up to my grandpa and I'm like, hey, Papa, if my dad's never been to California, how does that make sense? He's not your dad. Oh, 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 okay. That was it. That was what I was left with. So I'm like 8 years old, and I'm just like, drop that bomb on me. But growing up though is I think it was like the first time I seen any type of drug or anything like that. I think I was like 7 years old, maybe a little bit younger, and I had no idea what it was. You know, I had no idea what was in tinfoil. I had no idea why there was, you know, why the spoons had fucking burnt bottoms on them. I didn't know why, you know, mom started sleeping all day. I didn't know what was going on. You know, I had no idea I was even poor, right? Because you're a kid, you know, you just want to be with your friends. You want to, you're having fun. You're being, you know, playful and everything like that. And I had no fucking clue until school, you know, bullies. That's a big thing on mental health too, is fucking bullies, man. I was bullied all through fucking elementary school for being poor, having hand-me-down clothes, having bleach stained shirts, and you know, just all types of shit. Going to school with rag down clothes. I just didn't know, you know. And kids were just fucking mean. 90s kids, they were holy shit ruthless. Holy hell. And yeah, it's sad, but teachers didn't give a shit. They really didn't. And growing up like that, it's just like you said, man, you can rather follow the same path and follow those footsteps, or you can learn from it. You can stop playing the victim type thing. And yeah, I think I was like 12 years old whenever I finally put my foot down, and I was tired of it. You know, like at 12 years old, like no 12-year-old should be going through stuff like that. And I put my foot down. I told my mom I wasn't coming back home. I told her that told her and my stepdad I wasn't coming back home. I was over it. I couldn't be around it anymore. And I started staying with my grandparents around then. And you know, it was a big old argument thing, and I got what I wanted. And you know, I started staying with my grandparents, but my little brothers didn't understand. And that was one of the hardest parts of my life up till now, honestly. Like I just talked to them a couple years ago, like a year ago, honestly, when I got out of the Navy about it. Sat down and had a long talk with them, you know, and they resented me. They hated me for leaving. And they didn't understand like why I wasn't coming home, why I didn't want to be around them. And it wasn't that I didn't want to be around them, it's that I couldn't be around my mom and dad. And I hated the fact that I had to leave them behind. But guess what they did at the same age, bro? they left too. And you know, they're grown adults now. You know, one's 22, one's 23, one's 21, and they're doing great. You know, I'm really proud of them. But we had a long talk, man, and sometimes you have to do things in life that can't be explained right away, and you can't talk about it till later. And that's the hard choices that life presents you. But a lot of people look at me for some whatever reason. I don't know why, but when I got in the Navy, they started assuming I was given like life on a silver spoon. No fucking clue why they thought that whatsoever. It's like, oh, you didn't go through anything. You're kind of like semi-attractive. I'm like, no, that's not how this works at all.
That's just a hard exterior, yeah.
Getting stereotyped like that, you know, forever. It was hard, man. And there's like I got plenty of stories, man. I really do. I'm sure all of us do and everything. But that's just my relatable story. You Sticky, man. You hit home right there, bro. And
I mean, similar to you, I left home at 14. I lived in a vehicle. until I was 15, and then I found a friend I could stay with, and then from 16 I ended up having an apartment. Just lived and I did my thing, and what I realized was when what really clicked home is I had my first child, I'm doing these drugs, and I got arrested. Bam, I found myself in the mix. I'm in the system doing my stuff, and my kid is seeing this, and I'm like, damn, I'm putting him through the same thing that my dad put me through. So we're going a little longer, and then next thing you know, his mom is on drugs, and that's very hard for me because I'm seeing the same pattern. Mom on drugs, dad on drugs. So mom goes away. It's just me and son. Me and him are thugging it out. Him and I. And it clicks. I was going to rehab and it clicks. Got to get out. You got to stop. You got to make a change. If you don't do this, no one else will. So I got right. Started living good for my kid. Was going through rehab. Did great. Next thing you know, 3 months later, I met my wife.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. I went to a concert, filmed it. She hit me back on Snapchat. She said, should have invited me. And next thing you know, boom, I'm here. It was insane, bro. And I'm never know when life is just like, all right, you're doing good. Here you go.
Man, I can definitely relate to that right now, man. It's I didn't realize just recently. This is the most recent issue I've had with mental health. You guys know that I was stroking it out this year. I was pumping out content. I was doing my thing, and things were moving along and going great. And then I got the job that I had recently, and I didn't realize how much it was actually taking from me. The job itself. I was gone 5 days a week, all the way down to South Florida, and it was just sapping and sapping and sapping and sapping. It was taking. The more I worked there, the more it was taking away from my dream, which is this, content creation, giving back, and entertaining. And it was just like a constant mental state. I was streaming once a week. Yeah, I think one month I only streamed 3 times. Like it was just like what was going on? Like I couldn't grasp what I was losing grip of, and it all came to a point. I talked to you guys. I talked to I think everybody, all you guys about it individually too. But a couple 2 weeks ago, on Friday, man, I almost died, and that was like my little epiphany, and I realized man, I don't know if I can fucking do this shit. Like this ain't worth dying for, man. And then I had a beautiful woman come here, and we went to Universal. My girlfriend Mandy, and she opened my eyes to a lot, and that's all it takes is meeting one person and them talking to you and changing your life pretty much. And that's kind of what happened to me. So here we are, and I'm back on that shit. I'm back on full time. I'm happy, man. Really happy. My mental has completely shifted to 180, and I'm ready for it, man. It's great. It feels good. But I know exactly what you mean by meeting that one person and just
Click.
yeah. All right, I know where to go now. I know what I got to do. What about you, Crow? What's going on with you, man? Share some of your stories, man. Can you relate to anything we're saying?
So I didn't have the drug aspect of it, per se. So every male in my family on both sides were alcoholics. So one thing a lot of people already know is I don't drink alcohol at all. I just turned 30 and I haven't drank in 4 or 5 years. Because I just made that decision that, you see all of them, I go see all the men in my family just struggling. It's the bottle after the bottle after the bottle. The only one who, saved themselves was my grandfather. So I kind of piggybacked off of him. He was in, the military for 23 years. I have a lot of ink, and a lot of it is actually just tributes to him. So, I am very fortunate in the fact that, I made the decision early. I was like, I'm not going to be a part of this. Everyone is rowdy when they're younger. I did all the partying and stuff like that. But, so my biggest thing when it comes to the mental health aspect of it was I was a competitive athlete for 20 years. I was a baseball American. I've been in books. I was the 47th best player in the country at one point. And I just kind of was like, oh, like how does it, like, especially I was a baseball player, you like, what is the mental aspect of it, like what goes through somebody's head? I was like, okay, I want to try to learn this. And that's kind of what led me down psychology. And then I ended up going more into the developmental aspect on like the psychological stuff that kids go through and what causes someone as they age to go, like, to become who they are. So that's kind of where I've been led.
That's awesome, man. At least you found what you wanted to do in something that you were doing at the time. Yeah, it's weird how life like comes at you. Like you have these brief moments of clarity, and it's like a calling that you feel in a pool that you feel towards it and everything. And it's crazy hearing it from other people. You live your life and you have a tunnel vision, so to speak. And then when you start hearing outside stories, that's whenever your tunnel vision starts to widen, and you start realizing that like you can relate to a lot more people.
Yeah.
Just by
Well,
simply opening up and being truthful with yourself.
and I think that's one of the biggest issues that a lot of people have with mental health is they feel alone. They feel like it's just me. I'm going through this, they're in this cloud, and you can't see through it. And then you hear one story, it's like, Sticky's story is close, relative to Grimm's story, and then it kind of allows you to build up, and you're able to break through the cloud a little bit and see the daylight.
Yeah, it's you never know like just how many people actually can relate to you until you like open up, and mental health is one of those things that's like we're here to help you, but first you have to you have to help yourself a little bit by opening up, you know let yourself come out and shine a little bit. And if not, then it's hard, man. It's really hard. I don't know if you guys know. I've talked about it a little bit here and there. Something I don't really talk on very often, honestly. But when I was 16, I was actually in a fire. I was burnt over 85% of my body. It was an explosion. 15 gallons of gas exploded like right in my face, man, and it sent me into the hospital. I was in the hospital for 60 days. I was supposed to be in there for like 6 months. I have skin grafts on my feet. My face was fucked up. Everything was fucked up. If you see pictures of it, I don't look like the same person. But during that time, like I think the first day, I actually flatlined the first time, and it was simply due to pain. That was my first time flatlining. The second time was about 3 days later, during my second surgery. My sat rate went so low that I coded out on the table, and they resuscitated me right there. I don't remember any of this. The last thing I remember was like a couple seconds before I like coded out the flatline the first time when they were cleaning my wounds, and I was just screaming. And the next thing you know, it was like 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, and I remember like waking up and looking around. I was just like, I want some chicken. Like I could barely open my eyes, and I was just like, I want chicken. Like that was the first thing that came to mind. And the next thing you know, everybody's like crying and freaking out and like running to the bed. And I was like, what? And they were like, we didn't know if you were waking up. You were just gone. And I was like, what do I look like right now? I was like, everything hurts. So that was just the fire. And when I got out of the hospital, they sent me out early because good old USA and American health insurance is wonderful. It maxed out. They sent me out of the hospital early, and the second Transformers movie came out. Yeah, I'm old. I know, guys. Second Transformers movie came out, and I wanted to go see it. I really wanted to go see it, and that was my first time being outside and being in public at all. And I was covered in ace bandages, and I had these compression garments on my hands and on my legs and on my face. I literally looked like Hollow Man or like a mummy, a mixture of the two. And we were walking, it was me and a buddy, and we were walking from the mall to the actual like theater and everything. And in that brief span, it was a little girl, and she meant no harm by it. It's a little girl. They don't ever mean harm by anything they say. But I was walking past, and she goes, "Oh, mommy, look, Frankenstein," and that killed me. It completely killed me, like completely shifted my mental and like sucked. Later on that night, um, I got home and I I realized I was also addicted to the medicine that they were like prescribing me. I had Oxycontin, Oxycodone, Dilaudid, morphine, Neurontin, all the high, really strong shit. Right? Obviously, I was fucking fried. I was sparky, but I had all of it, and I also realized that like if I kept on down this path, I was gonna be like my parents, and I just hated everything about myself at that moment. And I didn't know if I was ever gonna look normal. And I remember like my mental was so fucking bad, and I just didn't have anybody to talk to, and I was addicted to this shit. And a little girl called me Frankenstein, and it just completely crashed. I completely crashed, and that was the night that I attempted to take my own life. I took everything that I was addicted to, and I took it all. I knew I had about 10 or 15 minutes to say pieces and goodbyes. And my grandparents were asleep in their room. And I went in there and my grandma, she was asleep with the I had one baby picture and she was asleep holding it. And I realized I fucked up. I had a moment of clarity, you know, and I went to the bathroom, and when I tell you, I purged as much as I possibly could to try to revert this. Um, Luckily, you know, I did purge enough, but some of the medicine definitely stuck still because your boy went to sleep for about a day and a half. I was out of it, and you know, my grandma just thought it was the pain, and that was my lowest moment. You know, I realized that you know I'd been given this third chance, so to speak. I didn't die, you know, from the fire the first time. I didn't die the second time I coded, and I needed to make the most of this instead of squandering it away or taking my own life. You know, how selfish could it be? You know, that's how I felt. You know, inside. As soon as I see my grandmother with that, I just remember thinking like, how selfish could you be? Like, why would you do this? And that's something that I know a lot of people battle with, and everything is you know, whether it's selfishness or you know you not taking others into account. Just know that somebody always loves you. Seriously, there is somebody there that always loves you, even if you don't feel like it. And that was my rock bottom. At 16 years old, man. But sorry for that moment. I just wanted to get my lowest point out of there. You know, it's good to talk about. Honestly, something that I haven't talked about in a very, 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 very long time. But Dante, you've been pretty damn quiet, man. Tell us some of your stories.
Well, first off, I appreciate you being that vulnerable with us, Grim.
Absolutely.
That's a lot. Um, uh, so I, so growing up in a Mexican household, mental health isn't a thing. Um, you know, having like any ADD or ADHD, that's not a thing. You know, no, my child doesn't need to take medicine. He doesn't. They don't need to see a counselor. Um, I so I've gone back into therapy since this past late July, and I've been finding my therapist now is amazing. I love her so much. She has really helped me to figure a lot of things of my past and what affects me to the now. Um, and one of the things of growing up was I self-isolated a lot. I remember where I was an outgoing kid. I would go outside and play. I would hang out with my cousins that would come over. I would go over to their houses. But there came to a point in time where they would make friends, like from school, and they would be hanging out with them, and I did not want to be around them. Um, um, I had school friends, but that's what they were. They were just school friends. Never saw them outside school. And I've been given, birthday invitations, like, oh, hey, my family's have a barbecue this weekend, this and that, and I just never. I would make up an excuse because I always had this other person in my head just tell me, nope, don't do that. You're gonna do something. You're gonna screw something up, and no one's gonna like you. So we're just gonna stay at home. And a lot of my time growing up I was spent in my room, just either watching TV or playing video games. I was solely my whole world. My mom worked a lot. She worked has still is a housekeeper. I have three older sisters and an older half brother. My older sisters. Um, there was a point in time where, and again, I was a kid, so I don't remember everything to a T. But um, I know my dad was gone for a certain amount of time. Didn't know what for. It wasn't until later on when I got older, I'm like, oh, he went to prison for assault with a deadly weapon. Um, so I remember my mom wouldn't be able to pick us from school anymore because she had to go. She had to work longer to make up enough money for food and bills. Um, my sister, one of me and my oldest sister, um, I remember me and her had to walk home from school during winter time, and it's because they left school early because it was snowing so bad. We had to walk like 7, 8 blocks in like knee high snow, and I was like maybe 7, 8, and she was like 10 or 11, and no one was home. Don't know where my other two sisters were at. So we were just outside freezing until my mom got off work, and she didn't even know that kids got let off early. Um, I remember visiting my dad in prison. A couple of memories from that. Um, at the time, my sisters just gave me. It's like, oh, he's away at college. That's where he's at. And like I didn't know. I was like, okay, cool. Um, he eventually did come back, and um, I never understood what was going on. Like my dad would have money, but I just didn't know where it would come from, and um, eventually I would follow my dad everywhere after that point, and if he was going to the store, I'd go with him. Like if we were getting a good amount of food, if we were using our food stamps, we would go to Walmart and Sticky. We would go to Danville, um, and so we would. It was like a 30-minute drive, and I would go with my dad every single time. And he's like, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna stop somewhere before we go to the store." I'm like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Where are we going?" I'm gonna stop to see a friend. I'm like, "Okay." And I remember he would go to his house, and he would go inside for a good while, and I'd be sitting in the car, don't know what's going on, and um, like I would go into my parents' room looking for something, and I would find some stuff hidden away, and I again don't know what it is, and eventually when I got older, I'm like, oh, my dad's selling weed. That's where we're getting the money from. Okay. Um, I remember I would walk into his room, open the door without knocking. He would yell at me, tell me get out, and I would see that he was packaging stuff. Um, I didn't start making friends until I got into high school. I got into high school, and then I made a friend who got me out of my comfort zone. and I went out, went and saw movies with friends, or I would hang out at other people's houses. Um, there was one friend I made that her dad did not like me. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. And eventually I found out she would message me. He's like, he doesn't like you because he doesn't like your dad. I'm like, okay. And then he's like, he says that your dad deals drugs and he doesn't want me around you. I'm like, all right, well, awesome. And I never encountered this before, so this is, nice. I After high school, I was very stuck. I tried to go to community college, that didn't work out, so I withdrew from that. Was just working, just stuck in a small town with nothing going on there. Just like, well, I'm just stuck here. This is my life for the rest of my life. I'm not going to go anywhere. And then eventually I moved closer to Chicago, into one of the suburbs with my older brother and his family. Um, my older half brother, he is from my dad's side, but my dad was never around for him, and a lot of other shit was going on that he had to deal with, that was similar to mine. And eventually, he wanted to have a relationship with me. He wanted me to know my nephews, um, but being in a place somewhere new, even though he was my brother and this is his family, I was just kind of in a house full of strangers. Tried community college again, didn't work out. My brother and I didn't really see eye to eye on a lot of things. And I was just stuck, just didn't know what to do with my life. And um, my manager at the time, I was working at a casino for a restaurant, and he asked me how I was doing, and he saw something was wrong with me, and I was explaining what was going on, and he's like, "Hey, you ever thought of joining the military?" I'm like, "I can't do that." And he's like, "No, no, 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 you can't do that." I'm like, and he got me into looking into joining, and I enlisted in the Army National Guard. Went to boot camp in 2013. Um, I probably at the end of the third week of boot camp, I was ready to quit. I was drained physically, emotionally. I was just they they paraded us to the parade field where we were supposed to graduate, and I got the most demotivating speech from our battalion commander, just saying that we were basically worthless and we're not going to make it. And they marched us right back, and I just remember I had my M16 and I'm in the back ranks, and I just went down to my knees and I started bawling. I was like, I can't do this. I'm gonna quit. And um, later on that day, I left by myself, and you're not supposed to go off by yourself, not during training. And I got caught by one of my drill sergeants, and he eventually asked me, "What's going on?" And I said, I want to quit." And he told me, "You're not quitting. Go back upstairs. I'll come talk to you later." And eventually he did. It was just me and him in the hallway. He's asked me, "Hey, what's going on?" I told him everything, and he's like, "I get where you're coming from. I really do. But you do not want to quit. You do not. You can do this. You this is hard now, but there's a reason why we're doing this to you guys, and you're gonna be grateful you kept going through." And then I listened to him, and I was able to make it through boot camp. I went to my advanced individual training, and then after all that, I came home. I met my unit for the first time, and it I had some sort of clarity of where I was going in life, but me being back home, I was then forced to deal with things that I never knew with family. Um, I completed this, great achievement. Like I never thought I'd do something like this, and then I'm coming home, and my mom and dad aren't talking. My sisters are telling me all these things that my dad did while when I was a kid and even before I was born, and this is like why, like why I was expecting, to have a good time, so that you guys to, you know, show that you guys are proud of me and everything. And now I'm dealing with this. Um, from 2013 to 2019, I was in, and then I couldn't re-enlist as much as I wanted to with my unit at the time due to medical issues. I lost my basically my purpose, and I didn't know what to do. And I had a friend in Arizona. I was like, "Hey, I have an open room. You're welcome to come anytime." And I'm like, "You know what? This I don't see a future here. Let's try out in Arizona. Let's see how that goes." Go out there. Found a job in the first couple months. Start training, and then COVID happened. COVID happened. Didn't go back to the office. Was still in the middle of training, and they threw us into the fire dealing with customer service. And at first, it wasn't that bad. I was getting the hang of the job, learning a lot of things, and then it got to a point where almost every other call I was getting people just degrading me over the phone, and basically telling me and my coworkers like, "Oh, you guys are worthless. You might as well go kill yourselves." I'm like, awesome. So hearing that on a daily basis, I and at the time I didn't know I was doing this, but I started to self medicate with magic mushrooms. Started becoming to a point where at the end of the week of my work week, the only thing I looked forward to was clocking out and taking what I had on me and just disappearing into out of this world. Um, it started. I was taking it so frequently. I was getting more and more because I had to take more in order to have that effect on me, and I I took an ounce. I took a whole ounce of magic mushrooms, and it was great in the beginning, and then towards the end, don't know what happened. I had a massive panic attack during it. Every bad thing that I've had just came out, and I'm just lying in bed, kind of just immobilized, like I couldn't move, and I just thought like, what do I do to get out of this? And the only thing I could think of was I have my handgun underneath my bed. I already know it's loaded, and it's just a simple pull the trigger. Um, and I was just there. It felt like an eternity, like just thinking about it. Like, do I move my hand now to grab it, or do I not? And luckily, instead of grabbing that, I grabbed my phone and I called 911. Was taken to the hospital. I think by the time I got to the hospital, the high went away and I started to calm down. Um, After that point, I didn't really tell many people what was going on, like that even happened, besides a select few of my roommates at the time. I was still dealing with I still just had this darkness that was going on inside me that I just kept bottled up ever since I was a kid. Just always had this inner person in me, just no matter what I did, whether it was good or bad, that they're always there criticizing me. And it got to a point where I couldn't hold a job. I wasn't making any money. I wasn't making food for myself. I was literally using my credit cards at that point just to order out because I couldn't go outside and go to the store. I couldn't go in the kitchen and make me food. If I got food, it spoiled away because I never touched it. Um, I had to move back home, move in with my brother and his family again, start new, basically. And it was okay at first. I was working at Amazon at the time, and I started seeing a therapist at that time as well. But there's still days that I just wanted to come home, not see anyone, not talk to anyone. I just want to go in my room and be left alone. And I remember one day very specifically where I think it was just lot of high anxiety where I just got up from my chair, went back and forth from closing the blinds to reopening them again to lying down. I just couldn't stop moving. I couldn't, no matter if I sat or lay down, I just was not, I couldn't get restful or anything at all. And it was driving me insane. And I had my sister-in-law would come down and talk to me during these nights. And I would tell her what's going on because I couldn't talk to my brother. He's not an emotional person. He's not the type of person you would talk to about things like this. And I just told her all I think about is disappearing. That's all I think about. I can't think of anything else. And she asked me, like, what do you mean by that? I'm like if somebody told me, hey, I could snap my fingers and you would disappear from everyone, no one would remember you or anything, and I would probably take that offer. Just probably immediately. I probably wouldn't even think about it twice. Eventually, I reached out to my current roommate now. I was like, hey, I need to get out of here. If it's okay, can I move back in with you? And he said, yeah, no, it's not a problem. And getting away from family helped a little bit, but there was still a mess in my head. And it was actually on my birthday last year. We had to work still at Amazon, and I knew it was not a good day. But I knew I needed the money. And they were asking people, like, oh, hey, that's just not a lot of work. Who wants to leave early? You can. I said no the first time, kept pushing through it, trying to keep, push the thoughts away. They asked the second time, and I said no again. This time was harder. I was walking around the aisles doing my job, and it felt like I had an open wound, like in my chest, and like there's pain there, but there is no physical pain, and I'm bawling my eyes out. I can't go down aisles where there's other people. If I saw someone, it was just one person, I immediately went the other direction. And then the third time they asked, like, hey, do you want to leave early? And I said yes. I went home. My roommates were gone, celebrating the 4th, and I went into my room, closed the door, and I slept the day away. I went in and out of fistful sleeps, and I don't even remember what time it was, and I know it was late at night, and in my head, it's just like, this is it. No one's here. No one can stop me. I have a pretty full bottle of my antidepressant medication. I know where there's other over-the-counter medication I can use, and I have a bottle of tequila with me, so I can make sure that I don't wake up. And laying in bed, I was like, this is my decision. This is how this is how it's gonna go. And I got a text from a friend, and that kind of snapped me out of it. So I didn't take my life on that day. I eventually I stopped going to Amazon. I just couldn't leave my bed anymore. Was going in and out of jobs. I couldn't hold down a job for even for a day. I ran out of money. I had to start selling things that I owned to just pay bills, give me some food, and give my cat food. Didn't tell my roommates none of this. I just always in my room sleeping. But I'm not sleep like I'm dead asleep, but I don't wake up restful. And I went a good few months doing this until I finally reached out to family. It's like, I don't have money. I need some sort of assistance. And even then, that was hard because I don't like asking for people for help, especially family. And this is family I've hardly ever talked to ever since moving out of my brother's house, because I don't know why. it's hard to reach out to them. Um, it's I'd rather ignore them to hopefully they forget about me than try to have a connection with them. Um, and eventually I did let my sisters know, like, no, this, I was going to kill myself on this day and I was going to kill myself the other day. Um, and and it's hard to be with them as well, since there's some family members that don't speak to other family members anymore, and then I have to pick and choose. Like, well, if I come into town, I have to go see this person this day, and if we do something on that day, I'm gonna have to focus on the next day with these people, and it's just a broken family altogether. So that's even harder to keep that type of relationship with them if I have to pick and choose to deal with all that.
Tonto, thank you. Seriously, I know that was a lot for you. You know, we've known each other for a while now. Day one SRC, we've clicked and gotten along, and we knew a lot about each other. But I feel like definitely understand each other on a different level now. It's it's a lot of difficult moments. That you just never have to pick and choose family, ever. That's something that should never be a thing. And when I get that, I do, and I know others listening and you guys in here with us. I know you guys probably understand that, but it's bullshit. It really is. And you're stronger. You're a very strong man for realizing and knowing that you do have those people that love you. Not taking your life, not finally getting to that point. Whether it was a moment of somebody texting you, or if it was you actually picking up your phone instead. You had those moments where you realized, hey, I shouldn't do this. And I get that feeling. I do. It's like, fuck, I shouldn't have done this, or oh fuck, I can't do this. Thank God, that your friend texted you and everything, man. Is so much right there, man. It's really deep. Yeah, I understand the military shit, man. That's when you were talking about that, I was like, damn, man. Yeah, I definitely felt that.
Mm.
I was going through boot camp. I had a moment like that too, man. Day one going in, and this is something I've never shared with anybody, I don't think, actually. Day one going in, it was like an hour before I was getting on the plane, to go to fucking Salt Lake or wherever. What's it called? Great Lakes. There you go.
Yeah, Great Lakes.
Great Lakes. My buddy calls me. My best friend in the world called me, and he informed me that my godchild, his son, died. He's a little 6-month-old baby. He come home from work, and he was resting on the couch and watching the baby, and when he woke up, the baby was hemorrhaging from his nose and his ears. And by the time he got to the hospital, the baby was pronounced dead. And that was going in, and that sucked going in. Initially I was like, fuck, man, fuck. Last thing I ever got to tell him, was, love you, man. Like, I'm here for you. I sadly have to go, but I'm here for you. And I wrote letters, from day one. I was writing letters to him, and so many letters and everything else. And it was like 3 weeks in, you get your first phone call. I was calling him, and nothing. Nobody was picking up. I was like, what the fuck? And I finally got a hold of my grandpa, and they informed me that he had taken his life a couple of days later. And that was my moment of, fuck this. I want out. Nah, I'm done. Like, can't do it. I lost my shit right there. Like, had a whole scene. Like, I don't even remember what happened for like an hour and a half after that. And I sat down with one of my RDCs, and he sat down with me and had a long talk with me and calmed me down. And I'm extremely thankful for that guy. Extremely thankful. And he was there for me. And everybody couldn't stand this RDC either. Like, he was a dick to everybody. Like, this man was he would torture people, and he was just doing his job at the end of the day, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. And he actually gave his shit. The RDC that was nice as shit was fake as hell. The one that everybody liked, he was fake as shit. And it showed that he actually cared. And by the end of the boot camp, I told everybody right after he was there for me, I told everybody, I was like, listen, you guys don't like him right now, but I promise you by the end of boot camp, he will be our favorite RDC. We're gonna realize he gives a shit. Everybody's like, oh, you're crazy, man. Like, you smoked crack when you went to fucking call. I was like, no. And sure enough, by the end of boot camp, we had a vote, and there was one vote for the nice guy. Everybody else voted for the other one. And that was a really hard moment, and I was never able to like say goodbye, and I blame myself for the longest time for going, and I couldn't grasp what had happened. I lost somebody that I grew up with. I was there from day in and day out. We literally just climbed trees and goofed off, and I'm the reason why his arm broke, because I threw a pole at him while he's in a tree. But like, it's just so many different memories, that we made, and I felt for the longest time, that I'd let him down by not being there. But talked to his mom and everything a couple years later, after I finally got like, the cojones to fucking talk to him, and I remember like breaking down crying, and then she was like, I don't blame you. There's nobody to blame. She's like, it's just impossible to understand what it's like to lose and bury your child. And he had to go through that. And then I had to go through it. And she says, the pain that I feel, it's not that I understand why I did it. It's just that I forgive him. And just moments like that, you can do everything you can in the world. You can go to school like Crow. You can go through experiences like us. You can have every moment of relatable stories to everybody that you can have day in and day out. And you could try to be there for somebody. But if anybody in chat here, or you guys have ever experienced any of this, man, you know that if somebody is going to take their own life, the only man and the only woman, the only person that can stop them is themselves. Once the decision is made, that it is made. There is no stopping them. You do not blame yourself if you lose that loved one that takes their own life, because that'll just, it's a vicious cycle. They wouldn't want that. Know that. I know that whenever I did what I did, whenever I attempted to take my own life, I wouldn't want anybody else thinking that they could have prevented it, that it would have been their fault, because it wouldn't have been anybody else's fault. There was no fault to be given at all. It's just sometimes life really sucks. But as bad as life is, you have to realize where the glass is half full, where you have these victories over the losses. What great things you can pull from bad moments. And it took me so fucking long to realize that, to learn that. Take every loss, every wrong turn, every bad thing, and turn it into knowledge, knowing what not to do. And for that, I gotta say I am thankful for my parents for showing me the wrong way how to do shit. Because damn sure they showed me a lot of wrong ways to do it. And every moment in life, you know, it's a teachable moment. So that's something I think you've done a lot of, Tonto, you know, as well. With all your stories and everything, it seems like you've really grasped the knowledge side of everything, you know. Like learning your where you took that wrong turn, where you could have done this but did that, you know, and how you won't repeat those mistakes. That's what life is about too, is making mistakes. Make those fucking mistakes. Go out, have fun. I wouldn't say don't do drugs, kids. No, I can't say that. But you know, have fun. Venture out, experience things, but learn.
So like one of the things that my therapist has me and her gone over is my childhood, and the one thing I am trying to learn is to to forgive my younger self, the little boy growing up. Um, she actually gave me an image, and um, I don't know if this show up on screen or not, but um, so there's a woman and then there's a child, but that's not mother or daughter. That is your older self and your younger self. And basically, the older self is saying you did an amazing job surviving the only way you know how. Thank you. And it goes to saying, when I experience shame as a younger person, I'm not only boxed up my shame, I box up that part of my life. By healing our relationship with past shame, we heal those parts of ourselves that are still hiding. We grant them the space to contribute all the wonderful things they have to offer. And I realized I was blaming a lot of everything was, you know, I have me self isolating, of not having friends until I was older. Um, you know, I the another thing that that just popped in my head was um, being in a Mexican family. You know, I felt like I was the black sheep because I don't speak Spanish very well, not in complete sentences at least. I can understand it. And the other thing was, if I went to the store with my parents and my mom saw one of her friends, or my dad saw one of his friends, and I could hear them talking in Spanish, and it's like, oh, he still can't speak Spanish. What's going on to him? What's wrong with him? And that's another thing that took me growing up. Like, oh, there's something wrong with me. I, you know, I'm supposed to be able to speak this language, but I can't. And you know, that was another reason I didn't have any, like, the friends I did have. None of them were the other Hispanics that were around there. I had mostly white friends because they never looked at me like, oh, you're not one of us. Um, so I'm slowly starting to forgive the little boy. They didn't really do anything wrong. He did the best he could with what he knew. You know, I couldn't, with what I know now, with my developed brain, I understand things now, but there's no way I could understand everything that was going on back then. So I can't really fault that child.
Yeah, I think that that image kind of hit home with everybody, honestly.
Yeah, really, bro.
Fuck.
It did.
It's,
It's hard, honestly. I feel like even today as a man, like I still struggle with my mental health. Like you never know when things are going to be good, and you never know when things are going to be bad. You just got to be thankful for them being. It's hard. Life ain't easy, but anything worth having isn't going to be easy. You have to fight and you grind every inch in your life, in my opinion. And bro, it really shook me when you showed me that. Like, I'm not an emotional person. I don't get like this, but like it really grabbed me by my throat. It really did. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. One of the things I've been doing, at least for the past few weeks, is my therapist. She asked like, "Hey, I'm thinking of doing a men's group therapy. Would you like to do that?" And I told her, "Yeah, no, I think that would be interesting." And I've it's me and four other guys, and I'm the youngest at all of them, at least by a few years next to the next one. And then the oldest one is, I think, in his 50s. And it's interesting that we are all, whether it's ethnicity or just um, how we grew up, what sort of working classes, middle class or lower class, um, or just the year you're born. It's interesting to see the things that we all went through, that we shared, and how very similar that we all are with the pain and trauma that we all dealt with. Um, and
So kind of the crazy thing about, pain in life, it's doesn't matter what walk of life or what class you're in, or how well things have been going for you. Everybody has their own ceiling, their own limit to what they can deal with. And pain isn't a universal image or universal feeling, you know especially a mental state. Limits are there for a reason, and everybody has different ones. And where I might be like, well, that's no big deal, others might, it might cripple them. I was in the Navy for 10 years. I was spec ops and did what I did for a long time, and they do train you to be numb, and that numbness became an overwhelming feeling, and it's not good. It's not healthy, until recently, I felt like that, that I felt like that was just something that was going to be me for ever. I wasn't going to be able to bear emotions or share moments like this, and have those, just this bonding moment with all of you guys. And tears, they weren't a thing for a while, and feeling that numbness, and not knowing how to fix it, not knowing, like, the military did this, they pounded this into you, and you've done horrible things, and how do you grasp what is right from wrong at that point? And that's an issue that I faced when I got back home. And I didn't know how to hold on to anything, whether it was sanity, whether it was day-to-day life. You just find yourself existing. And I mean, till this day, I really don't know what moment happened, but I do think, honestly, thinking about it, that numbness was overwhelming, and it was crippling to the point where, when I got out of the military last June, right? I had no direction that I was going. I mean, I had something I wanted to do, and a lot of it fell through, and I just felt like life was just fucking sucking once again, And last November, I got a call, and my Uncle Chuck. Some of you guys remember this, but my Uncle Chuck, he was sick for a while. He was, and he had finally passed away from his cancer that had been ailing him for some time, and we were ready for it. The family was ready for it. We were prepared for a while. So that wasn't it. It sucked, because that was part of my childhood. That man like taught me how to cook eggs. Like, he was there for me. He knew what was going on and stuff. He was in prison for like half of his life, but he came out a better man on the other side of it. He did what he had to do in prison to survive, and he taught me so much. And when I lost him, I was like, fuck, man, all right. I knew he was going to pass. I got to talk to him. I got to say goodbye. But what I wasn't ready for was 2 days later, when my Uncle Timmy passed away. He was murdered. A lot of you guys might not know that. 2 days later, he was addicted to drugs, but he was never the type to do anything that could necessarily kill him. He wasn't always on drugs, but he was mostly an alcoholic, which that's a drug on its own, in my opinion, and severe alcoholic. And over the course of the last 6 months of his life, he started doing coke, and he ventured into a little bit of meth. And the guy that was dealing for him, he was fixing up his house, and the guy apparently threw him a baggie, said it was coke. It was fentanyl, crushed up, that was made to kill somebody. And one whiff of it, and that was all she wrote. The guy left my uncle dead on the floor for 14 hours before he called the cops. Getting that call that my uncle Timmy had passed away, this man he had always been, between him, my mom, and my other uncle who lives above me, he'd always been the one that was, he didn't necessarily have his shit together, but he worked. He put food on the table. He was a dad. He was the only role model I had at all. And that numbness that I had felt had completely shattered. It was like it was like fuck, sorry guys. It was like, in him passing, it was like the last thing that he did for me was saving me from my own self. And sometimes losing somebody can help you in life to appreciate things. And that's what you did. So it's really hard to talk about. Sorry, it's coming up on the anniversary of it, and it's just one of those moments, man. I gotta be thankful for it. At the end of the day, he knew how I was after the Navy did what they did, pounded what they pounded into me. He knew how I felt about myself, my self-image, and losing him, like I said, it's just completely that oh, I don't feel anything. That went out the window that day, man. Here I am now, able to like choke up and cry with you guys. It's losing loved ones is never easy. Losing anything is never easy. So just know, if you are going through something and you need a reason to hang on to something, know there's going to be individuals like us right now choking up about shit, missing you. So
and one of the things that, at least within these last 2 years, that helped me a lot was being in SRC. I remember the day that I told Davey and Kazik, hey, I need to talk to you guys. I need to talk to you in the VC. They were there, and there was like, hey, what's going on? And I told them that I, I need to I need to go away. I need to step away. And there's, well, what's going on? Like, tell us what's going on. Like, I just want to die. Just simple as that. I just want to die. I don't want to keep doing this. I I don't. I know I shouldn't think this way. I shouldn't be feeling like this, but that's just how I feel. That's all I think about in my head. And they both told me like, hey, obviously we don't want you to do that, but if you need to take time away, that's fine. You don't have to leave the org. You can still be here. You just hang out with us. Just don't disappear on us. Like, show that you're still here. Don't. And they both gave me their phone numbers. Like, text me now. I need your number now so I can reach you if you don't say anything for a good while. I'm like, okay. And I did take my break. I, just did a lot of alone time to get my head straight for a little bit. And I came back and I went more into the content creation side, so the comp side, and when we did our custom nights, we all just be in the VC, hanging out with each other, and then eventually, I got to in the position that I am in now, and being able to do things for SRC and being a more part of it has greatly, like, that's given me a purpose to know, hey, stick around, because you want to do this. This is the other purpose that you've been looking for, and that is my purpose right now. Is I want to see this org grow more. I want to meet more people. Like, me again, like Grim said, like on the first day that we met each other, like me and him got along great. Me and him, me before the podcast even started, me and him have had many conversations in a call by ourselves, and it's just we just clicked like that, and
Clicked and bonded, man.
yeah. Sticky, like when I met Sticky the first time, me and him got along great as well. We got some games in. Crow, like when he joined the prospects, like he was very, like he wanted to be here, and and there's many more sign members and or prospects that I've met. And I'm like, this is another beautiful thing about being in this org and being in the online community is you get to meet all these people, and all the shitty things I've been through, all the still shitty things I'm dealing with on the daily basis, is I don't want to change any of that, because then I might not be here with these people right now.
That's one of the things that, like, whenever people would ask, what's the incentives for being an SRC, blah blah blah, like, what do you get, what do you get, what do you get? People are always asking what can they get, and this is one of the things that you don't understand unless you've been here. It's not something that I could just tell you, oh, we're family, they take that with a grain of salt. Everybody tends to, like, just take that with a grain of salt, but they don't understand it. Like, it's literally a fucking family. There was moments where I hit rock bottom, January, I was homeless. Didn't have anything going on. I had nothing. I was up shit's creek without a paddle. And even when my own family wasn't there, SRC was. The org was. Davey was. Prof was. Kazi was. All of you guys were. Reaching out, asking how I was doing, wondering why I haven't commented or been in the Discord. Where the hell is he? Anybody talk to him? I just didn't have Wi-Fi. I didn't even have a phone at the time, man. And when you hit rock bottom, you really do find out who your friends are, who your family is, who's there for you, who loves you, and I can 100% say, those of you that are in SRC and listening right now, please know this is an incentive that no amount of money can buy. is having family and people you can trust and know that will be there for you and love you. And people that want to join SRC and want to be a prospect and are prospecting right now and everything else, is keep in mind that if you want to grind for this, you want to be a part of this, just know what you get into, right? Once you through the doors, all right, might as well change your last name. it's tight knit here and the best way possible. And I'm thankful for you guys, every one of you, Sticky, Crow, Tonto, everybody in chat. You guys are awesome, man. I bonded with Sticky like day one, literally. Day one, Sticky, me and him we're talking shit, and I remember I was like, man, this guy's got a great mental, bro. Like, I like him. Dude, he's a whole dude. I like him, man. Just hit it off.
I love you too, brother.
Yeah, man. And I get fucking Snapchats from this man on the daily of his fucking food, and I'm just like, that shit looks fucking delicious. Goddamn. You don't know in chat, Sticky is a chef, and goddamn, he makes some good looking stuff.
I'm a food whore.
That's fine, because I fully expect you to be cooking at the first in-person event that we're at.
Listen, I will have a menu pre-made. Don't worry.
I will buy the groceries. Like, you just gotta cook it, please.
You name it.
Crow,
If I don't know, I'll learn. Trust.
Crow, man, like meeting you for the first time and seeing how you were so motivated and just wanting to help, and honestly, like my favorite aspect of you was your sense of urgency within yourself and panic. It's a good thing, you know. It showed how ready you were for stuff and like how concerned you were for doing things the right way, and your attention to detail within what you're doing yourself. You know, so many different levels, and then, you know, got to talk to you finally, and you know, you're a good dude, man. And SRC's full of that. You know, we weeded out a lot of people. We have a lot of individuals, and it's become a lot better, you know. And we will continue to strive for something that's better within the org, and a lot of people that are going to be here for each other, you know. And that's something that I think is great that we can all stride towards. It's been a great episode, guys. Seriously. You know, there's some moments where we all cried.
Yeah, most definitely.
These stories, they hit home pretty damn hard, not gonna lie. Whether if it was I was sharing or Tonto was sharing or you guys were sharing, you know, it's always good. It's really therapeutic, honestly. This has been the best therapy I've been given in probably about 12 years. Not even kidding, man.
And a disclaimer, anybody that is in chat or anybody that sees the episode, my inbox is always open. If you feel like you need to talk, say something, please. I don't care what time, what day, message me. One conversation could change a life. It really can.
One.
Yep, absolutely.
Sticky is one of the most open-minded, non-judgmental peoples I ever met. And he is, you know, someone, he will listen to you and he will give you the best advice he can. And
he will also tell you like where your shit stinks too. This man has no filter, and I like it. All right, if he's gonna be honest with you, all right. So go to him if you want the truth, if you need someone, and if you need somebody that's down to earth. But just go in there knowing if you in the wrong, he's gonna tell you in the fucking wrong.
And
it's a good thing though.
I take accountability for me being wrong as well. I do that.
Self accountability, that's extremely fucking important, man.
100%.
Bro, what you guys say about all this, big dog? Been quiet over there.
Yeah, well, kind of to piggyback off of Sticky a little bit, you know, I'm not the most talkative individual, as you guys have clearly seen, but again, you know, I do have the psych background. You know, a lot of people will go to bat for me. I am one of, you know, the most caring, like there for anyone kind of person there is. You know, I'm not a judgmental person. I posted earlier, you know, I try to be friends with everyone, and if I can help anyone, I'm going to. You know, I'm always open to talk to anyone. If you need help, you need to talk to someone. Just got to remember, you know, things happen. They'll make you stronger for it. You know,
Yeah.
things happen. Kind of, you know, one of the better song lyrics that I can, you know, come up with off the top of my head is, you know, the scars remind us of that the past is real, and all we can do is learn from it, grow from it, and you will always come out stronger in the end for it.
True, man. It's very true. And just because somebody isn't talkative doesn't mean they're not listening. You know, keep that in mind, guys. Sometimes the people with the best advice are the people with the fewest spoken words. So it's a lot of key moments here that, you know, anybody listening can take from that might be going through something, or, you know, something you might go through in the future. But the overall importance is that, you know, you're not alone. And always remember that. At the end of the day, you may feel like it's just you. You may feel like you won't want to get out of bed. You may feel like everything and everybody is out to get you. But we promise you, I promise you, everybody promises you, it's not true. No matter how much you think it is. Somebody's there for you, even if it's a stranger. Sometimes a stranger is the best person to talk to, honestly.
And don't believe that, you know, your friends on the internet, you know, don't fear from the people in your own in your life. You know, it's like, oh, these are just online strangers. Just because, you know, we don't live in the same town or the same state, that doesn't, you know, that doesn't mean anything. You know, a lot of my good friends I have now, besides the people I've known for years, that are people here online that I've have met already, or I will meet in the future, and I don't want to ever trade those people away. You know, these are my people.
Yeah. Chances are, if you're listening, you know, you are a gamer, or you know, you're on Twitch, you're on Spotify, or whatever listening device you may be on. You know, chances are you have online friends. You've been gaming for years. You've been in a scene for years, you know, where you do have people that you've never actually met in person. Don't let anybody, whether it be family, friends, or strangers, degrade what it means to be a friend, right? That person that lives in California while you're in New York, they're just as good of a friend. Distance does not change any type of love or friendship that anybody has for you. It can only help the heart grow more fond. And whenever you do get that moment to actually meet them in person and click and everything else, it's crazy and it feels so good. You know, whether it's a friend, loved one, or someone that was there for you once. You know, I know literally like a year ago, I finally got to meet my online buddies when I went to Texas for the RLCS event. You know, we had been playing Rocket League for literally 4 years together, and we'd never met in person. We'd just always been online together, you know. And we finally met in person. And when I tell you, it was like 30 seconds of like, what do I do? Like, oh fuck, we're actually meeting. And then it was just natural clicking. Like it was just like we were online, but in person, and it was so once you meet that person in person, it's crazy.
You know,
What
and
is this?
another big thing
Where'd you get
is,
this?
you know, just because, you know, someone's not physically there doesn't mean that they're not there. You know, great example. I'm extremely hard on myself. Tonto especially knows this.
Mm-hmm.
I I'm an extremely hard worker, but I'm also a very perfectionist oriented individual. So if I feel like I do anything wrong, I feel like the world's on fire. So being able to reach out, especially because I've reached out to Tonto, I've reached out to Grim, I've spoken to Sticky on several occasions. You know, even if you're not, you know, quote unquote, a part of SRC, you're still, you know, we're all still there for everyone. You know, the community is still there. You know, we have love for everyone. We want everyone to succeed, and just that's the biggest thing. Is, you know, again, just because they're not physically there doesn't mean that they're not there.
How many times I've told you to shut the fuck up after you sent me something?
You tell me that all the time.
Well, because you do this to yourself. And you're like, oh, I know I'm not doing anything right now. I'm like, no, shut the fuck up, Crow. You just because I give you one thing, you completely almost immediately like, you want something else. I'm like, I will give you things. Trust me, I will give you things.
Fun story, when I found out that I was going to be, you know, a full member of SRC, I get a random message from Kazi, who's the VP of SRC, for anyone who doesn't know. You know, Crow, I need to talk to you later. That's all I got. Just that. And I immediately messaged Tonto. It was like, what did I do wrong? He's just like, well, I know what the meeting's about, and don't worry, you haven't done anything wrong. So you just gotta get through it.
I was messaging Grim too at the time, like, hey, it's gonna happen tonight. And he's like, you have to message me. That way I can be a part of this, because Grim is streaming and playing games at the time. And like when we all got together and everything, it was awesome. I enjoyed that moment very much for you, Crow.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Those of you who don't know in the chat, one of our members, Floof, he lives with me now. He was bringing me food. Get a brownie and sandwich. But yeah.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he moved in over Monday, Monday.
So yesterday.
That was yesterday.
It's like yesterday morning.
Literally yesterday.
No. I'm wrong. Saturday. He moved in Saturday. I don't know where I get my days. All right, listen, it's been a while, man.
I wondered how. Yeah. Okay.
He was banging on Grim's door in the morning, and I wake up yesterday and I see in the I think it was in the pub chat. It was like, can anyone get a hold of Grim? I've been banging his door for 15 minutes. This motherfucker is hard ass sleeper.
Yeah,
and then
he's knocking for a while.
I put, if you talk negatively about Dragon Ball Z, even in a low whisper, it'll wake him up. And I shit you not, within 15 minutes, I get tagged in a message that says, "Excuse me," from Grim. I was like, "See, it worked."
Yeah. It was literally just a couple minutes later. That was great. It was perfect timing. I looked. I was like, talk bad about my Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
No, I felt bad because like he came and knocked on my window, my door. Because if I'm in my room and somebody's knocking on my front door, like this house is extremely like. You can't hear shit from anywhere. And yeah, I just didn't hear the door knocking, man. He knocked on my window, immediately woke up. He was knocking for a while. It was more than 50 minutes.
FBI, wake up!
Yeah, I feel bad. But yeah, he's here. He's set up in the living room and everything. And yeah, we're gonna start grinding out content together, man. It's exciting stuff, you know. But
so we
today's
need
episode's been great, guys.
Beds.
No bunk beds. No bunk beds.
There's so much more room for activities, though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room for activities where in the living room he can do his, you know, getting sturdy and shit in the living room. He was asking me yesterday while he's on stream if I could get sturdy. Nope, I don't know. Nope, I'm an old man.
I'm built sturdy. I'll break something.
Yeah, my dance moves are equivalent to a piece of fucking plywood. All right, like get away from me. I just found out I was Hispanic, man. You gotta give me a little while to get used to it.
Hey man, trust me. I've known this all my life, and I can't dance with this shit until you give me a good amount of alcohol. Then I'm not gonna give a shit anymore.
Yeah, it's gotta be copious amounts of alcohol though.
Yeah.
But
this is a good episode.
It was a great episode, guys, and you know, this is a hell of a way to wrap up the season. We'll be planning out the next season during this off season, and we'll be reaching out to individuals that we see fit or people that might want to guest appear again in the future. It's been real. It's been great. We have a lot of things coming up, a lot of opportunities in SRC. Make sure you check out all of our sponsors and all of our partners. Code SRC with Gamenetics. And we have a lot of other things that are in development. I believe in Jersey. Can you hit on that, Tonto, a little bit? What?
So I can't. Nothing is for sure yet.
It's nothing. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
it's like
but there
just,
will
just
be.
stay tuned.
There should be announcements that sometime this week.
Keep eyes on Twitter
Yes.
or
Keep eye
X.
keep eye on the socials. We are going to be hosting something next month. So you guys be ready for that. That is in the works right now. So you'll see it. Trust me.
And our you know what I'm talking about, the thing that's off branching off of that thing. Can we talk on that thing yet?
Oh, the
Or no?
scrims.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about
Is
that.
okay? All right. Scrims. Those of you that do play Apex and want good scrim lobbies and good quality scrims, scrims. SRC is bringing you those. So if you guys want to check those out, make sure you stay tuned, be in the Discord, and we will have an announcement very shortly. Are we set on the date?
November 1st, Wednesday.
November 1st still? Okay. Just making sure. Because I know before the dates had changed a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, November 1st, first scrim that we have set up. So if you guys are interested in stuff like that,
9
join the
Eastern
Discord today.
time.
Mhm.
Yep.
Bring
Going
all your
for that-
sweaty
that-
friends.
Bring the sweaty friends. Bring your mama. Bring your daddy. Bring your sister too. It doesn't matter. We just want you. So, with that being said, you guys, Sticky, Crow, please plug your socials.
StickyHazeTV on everything: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram.
Make sure you drop those follows. Crow.
Mine's just Cr0w51. The O is a 0. I only have Twitter because I'm just getting into the more social aspect of it. So keep everyone posted.
Alrighty. Make sure you guys follow the man. And Tonto.
iTanto _ on most things. And come look at my cat pictures on Instagram because she deserves all the love in the world.
He do be having kitty pictures, right? They were adorable. Little baby. Where's your cat? It's usually like
It was on the back of his chair a minute
She
ago.
was. She fucked
Yeah, I
off
know.
somewhere. So
I was trying to get mine so we could compare and contrast.
get over here.
there's so many jokes to be made right there that aren't inappropriate. But without further ado, though, it is me. You can follow me on any social at xGrimothy. And yeah, that's that. You know, give us a follow, drop a follow for the Source Gaming page here. But that'll be it for us. Thank you guys for coming, and sorry for making you cry a little bit. But don't worry, the tears weren't shed alone. And remember, somebody's there for you. I love you guys. It's SourceCast out for the season.
We're gonna send you off over to Slippy Trey, one of our Source members. You'll have fun with him, and he is a new VTuber. So show us some love, and thank you for guys coming out to this one. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we will work hard for the next season. Peace out.
Later, guys.